Hey, what's up, guys? Books Nelson here, back with another video, and today we will be talking about this. It's called the Mecha collection, but we all know it's the Wemby collection, where everybody gets a Wemby. So let's get right into the content. Before we break down all of these Wembys, let's first look at this triple threat reward. Brandon Ingram. This is a very exciting triple threat reward. Triple threat online reward, because with that Trae Young out there, we have been a little put upon with the offline reward, but at least online, you can go out there and get a new Brandon Ingram card, which is pretty cool. He hasn't been a super great card all year. Hopefully his dark matter improves. It's not so much his shot. I think Brandon Ingram has just had awkward animations for most of the year. So hopefully, this will fix it. His shot isn't great, but I don't think that's held him back from being necessarily good. I think he just never got quite the right, combination of things. He does have a 7'3" wingspan, and he can play the two guard position at 6'8". That is absolutely massive. In terms of people who like larger cards at certain positions, that's fantastic. Now, he does have his own jumper on very quick. So if you didn't like the way the Opal shot, you're not going to like the way this thing shoots. But that having been said, Trae escape, D Rose size up, Kyrie Irving dribble style, fantastic. They gave him all the stuff. No breakdowns, but Kobe's breakdown moves aren't great. But the Kobe moving crossover is absolutely fantastic. Outside of not having one of the elite releases, this looks like a really good card from an animation standpoint. Harden behind the back, solid. Chris Paul moving step back, which has now become my favorite moving step back. Since discussing it, it's funny, it's the beauty of playing my team. Since discussing it and breaking down these cards with you guys and looking at that Chris Paul step back and seeing how close it is to the John Wall, I like the trade-off. Me personally, I understand the John Wall slightly more explosive snatchback animation. To me, the hop is identical. And the hop I honestly use a little bit more than the snatch. The snatch is very, very good. The snatchback is very, very good. But the fact that I don't ever have to worry about getting the wrong animation and going out of bounds, I just love that. You see it all the time, that unintentional animation when people hop almost to the backcourt. And Chris Paul doesn't have that, while also still giving me the same general effectiveness of the John Wall. So I love that on this card. Glad they are diversifying with this. And this is what I'm saying, like this year's game, don't just put all of the exact same animations. It's okay to have D Rose and Steve Francis. Everybody doesn't have to have Steve Francis. Same thing with the Trae and the Kemba escape. I even think we need to start throwing that Kobe Bryant dribble style out a little bit more, because that's a good dribble style. There's no reason not to have it here. But yeah, having that Kobe moving crossover, absolutely fantastic. We'll see which hezzy he has, but I'm sure it's very good. I shouldn't say sure, but pretty sure it's very good. Let's look at his attributes and badges real quick. So it's funny, it's catchier to say stats and badges, but these are attributes. These aren't stats. Stats are points per game. I'm one of those people, those things bother me. All right. I'm from New York. It just happened, a little neurotic there. But 98. So, just outstanding in terms of the athleticism. Love that. 87 strength. Absolutely fantastic. I might actually go out and get this card. To be honest with you, this might be a card I grab just to see how good he is, because I like what he's bringing to the table, particularly on my no money spent. Running him and RJ Barrett might be a beautiful, beautiful thing for an account that has no way to guarantee a Dr. J, and it was made after Glenn Rice was available, or at least when it was too late to get Glenn, unless I was going to stay up for 4 days in a row getting Glenn Rice, which I was definitely not going to do for this video game. But yeah, he looks really, really complete. I love the 87 strength, because on a two guard, a lot of two guards are coming out with 84 strength where they can't get over 90. He can definitely get over 90. Looks really complete across the board. Honestly, he's another one of those cards that's practically a 100 overall. And let's see badge-wise, is there anything he's missing? They did not troll him with anything. He doesn't need any of these badges. He's a low-maintenance card. I love that. So yeah, Brandon Ingram, good reward. He's not a Glenn Rice level reward, but a good reward. And I do think with his animations at 6'8", there actually aren't that many 6'8" cards that get this good of animations with like a great wingspan and everything else. So he's kind of in a unique place. I'm very curious to see how he plays on the court with that jumper, if you can really kill with him. Looking forward to him. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and get these opals out of the way. So we'll grab Mo Pete, Javale McGee, Keegan Murray, and Oh yes, right. And we have we'll start the dark matters when we start the dark matters. All right. JaVale McGee, can he shoot? He sure can shoot. Fantastic. We look at these attributes, looking really good. 92 speed, 97 strength. That is fantastic. No shooting badges, so he's high maintenance. Handles for days in hyperdrive. Same old story. Gotta absolutely give him handles for days. 100%. Gotta give him that. He doesn't need anything else, but in terms of badges. So, which is great that he doesn't need anything else in terms of badges. Although I will say, it depends on your play style, but Slithery is a very important badge. Not as important as having 0 shooting badges. That's the main thing. Since he doesn't have any shooting badges, you may want to look at, maybe you don't care so much about Slithery, but it does help. It is a badge that when you have it, you're like, oh, right, it's there. It's a very passive badge that is going to kick in all the time, going to the basket. But centers don't necessarily go towards the basket quite as much. They're more standing dunk oriented, but they do catch and shoot a lot. So catch and shoot, open looks, dead eye blinders, green machine, corner specialist, all of those badges will help. But I will say this, he has an 84 3 ball. So I don't know if you need as many badges as you do the Artis Gilmores and the Mark Eatons of the world, because he has an 84 3 ball. So depending on his release, you don't need these badges to hit a standstill catch and shoot jumper. Although open looks, catch and shoot, and green machine at a minimum, those badges will help him a lot. For my money, I probably get those 3 badges, roll the dice on these 2. If he has good SIGs, we'll see what the SIGs are talking about. Maybe not the hyperdrive, but definitely handles for days. 100% handles for days. And then go from there. But yeah, stats-wise, attribute-wise, he doesn't have any needs that I can see here. He looks really, really strong across the board. Doesn't even need a shoe, to be honest with you. If I did give him a shoe, 100% pass accuracy. Pass accuracy, obviously, the shooting, because whatever badges you're sacrificing, you want to make up for it a little bit in the attributes. But yeah, after that, dealer's choice. Do what you want. Like the look of JaVale McGee. All right. He's got Kobe size up Michael Jordan dribble style. That's starting to give a little juice to these affordable centers. John Wall moving step back, technically the best one in the game. Giannis crossover, the between the legs, very good going to the basket. Chris Paul moving hezzy. Whoa, this card looks incredible. This card looks incredible. I almost don't care how bad his jumper is, because this card looks really, really good. I did use the JaVale McGee in salary cap early on because he was very cheap, the Ruby. But I don't think I ever took a shot with him because he couldn't shoot. All right, just take a look at him real quick. But yeah, he had a 45 3-pointer. So I don't even know what his jump shot looks like. And it wasn't on very quick before, so that might help it. But definitely have to look at his jumper and see what that's like. And just to see that, yeah, he's got his own signature jumper. But listen, animation-wise, attribute-wise, he looks really, really excellent. And I'm quite surprised that he looks that good. Impressed that 2K put that out. That's why I don't judge the cards in the preview days. It's just speculation on the preview days. We don't know what 2K is going to do. Okay, Keegan Murray, so he's a small forward, a 6'8", 7-foot wingspan. So you see what I'm talking about, like with that Brandon Ingram, like that wingspan on Brandon Ingram is definitely notable. Even though his player model is not the biggest in the world, he does have a long wingspan, which help him be in those lanes at the 2-guard position, which is not something you normally get. So he have a small forward. He's looking good across the board. I don't know why they gave him an 88 acceleration. That's such a weird stat to be in the high 80s as opposed to the 90s. I don't think you're going to feel that at all. Let's go ahead and look at these badges real quick, see if he's missing anything. He's looking really good badge-wise. I don't think he needs any of these badges at all. So good, a nice low-maintenance card. Yeah, looking across the board with the shooting. Shooting looks great. Defense looks great. Strength already over 90. That's fantastic. We know the shot release is pretty good. And Jamal Murray. I was actually just testing this out in the rec. Well, not in the rec, but in my career, right? I was in the Gatorade facility because I was just looking at the other size ups, because as I go along in the game, and I want to stress this point, right? We always talk about elevating the conversation here and also deepening our knowledge of the game. So one thing about the 2K community is, because the game is only on a 1-year cycle, the game is perpetually an early game, right? Early game in competitive games is when people don't really know how to play. They're just doing like what's good. What like looks good in the beginning. And so in 2K, because the game's only out for a year, people want to get out of not knowing how to play and into knowing how to play as soon as possible. So what happens is they find 2 or 3 good moves and then they stop looking, and they think they know everything about the game. And so for me, doing this channel and breaking down these cards and actually exploring the cards and having to look for stuff, there are things that I find out that I would have never found out if I was exclusively a rec player, unless I literally bought the animation, went into the Gatorade and tried it out. One of those things I found was that the Jamal Murray signature size up is very, very interesting because it has these built-in combos and it has a little bit of that D-Wade tight dribble, but it also has some of the, combo moves that you get from like a D Rose, but it's more measured than D Rose, but it has some stuff like that. So I do like the Jamal Murray with the Kyrie Irving dribble style and the Kemba escape. That's a great combination for him. Hopefully this behind the back is one of the absolute best ones in the game. I don't know if there's any way to tell exactly what it is, but hopefully it's either Murray or Halliburton. And then the Chris Paul moving step back, absolutely lights out. He doesn't have any basic or breakdown moves, but that's totally fine. You can ignore that. We hope that this is a good crossover. Scottie Pippen's up here. I believe Scottie Pippen has his own signature crossover. So we'll see what's going on there. Julius Erving has, I think, the John Wall. So if this is the John Wall, then he's good money. If this is John Wall, listen, he has Pro 2 leaner. Pro 2 hop jumper is terrible, but Pro 2 leaner is excellent. Honestly, this is a very, very exciting 2-guard. This guy might be better than I had anticipated for sure. I think he might move from playable to actually good. And the thing about the 2-guard position is because Glenn Rice is so strong, and Dr. J and like Ron Artest and those cards, and maybe throw Paul George up there. I actually don't put Kawhi Leonard up there. I think Kawhi is great, but I don't think he's in that level. But, the guys who are in that Kawhi tier, that next group, they're all very, very, very good. And so it's hard for a solid shooting guard to get play because the position at this point in the year is very stacked. That having been said, this guy has the animations to fit into that. He really does, in my opinion. He's got LeBron James layup package. Honestly, if this said dark matter instead of opal, I'm actually curious why this doesn't say dark matter Keegan Murray. I don't know what's holding it. It's almost like an artificial, like he's got 30 shot IQ, which is bringing him down from a dark matter. He's got 30 intangibles, which is bringing him down from a dark matter. But functionally, this is a dark matter 2-guard. And if this said dark matter, and I said this is a card you can definitely play and win and find a lot of success with, and maybe you'll like him better than some of those edge case cards, I would be a little surprised if you liked him better than like a Dr. J. But that next group, Kawhi and, Pippen, and I'm not saying he's as good as those guys. You got to play with the card and see. But he has the animations and he has the stats that if he was as good as those cards, I would not be surprised at all. But because he has an opal glow and he's affordable or attainable, I should say, people might think differently. And only 52,000 MT. This is crazy. This is one of the best deals in all of 2K. This is such a good deal that on my no money spent, I could actually see picking this card up. If he's good. If he's good, I can see picking this card up. Very, very impressed with Keegan Murray. Don't see any red flags in the card. Trying to take a look here and see if I see any red flags. But no, across the board, it looks like they just reduced some of the stats that don't matter. I want to make a couple of comparisons real quick. So Ricky Davis, he has a great shot and the elite behind the back. That's the thing that does matter, is what this behind the back is. That's absolutely important. But I just want to look at them stats and badge wise before, because this like fake dark matter theory, I want to unpack it a little bit. Look at where Keegan Murray is ahead of Ricky Davis, right? Better shooting, okay. Better defense, okay. So in the inside scoring, he's actually a better inside scorer in terms of the standing dunk being at 85, which is a big leap, by the way. This is a big leap from 75 to 85. When I make a My Career, and I got to put out that My Career video for a 2-way guard, excellent build that I want to share with you guys. But when I do that, I'm trying to get over 81. That's what I'm trying to get, at least at 81. That's when they start dunking all the time. 75 is usable, but I prefer 85 for sure. And so, driving dunk, okay, Ricky Davis has that advantage. Draw foul. I mean, it's both high for both of them, but then look at it. The post moves is where he lose out, right? Who cares? That's just fake stats. Nobody's doing post moves with a 2 guard in this game, or small forward or whatever. I think that's the real nerf of him, is that he can't play the 2 guard. But I mean, speed wise, they're almost equal, right? It's just 1 point apart. Yeah, I mean, stats wise, if you look at it, these cards are very close. Let's look at the badges. I mean, he's got Aerial Wizard over Ricky Davis, Masher, if you ever go up against a small point guard, which is not a big deal, but, you know, Hall of Fame Slithery, a big win for Ricky. Claymore is irrelevant, but he does have it higher. Floor General Special Delivery, absolutely irrelevant badges. And then we're looking at last gen, I just realized. Let's come on over. Yeah, I mean, badge-wise, it's a wash for the most part. I would even go as far as to say they're just equal. And the Hall of Fame Dimer, I'd probably rather have than those other badges. Relay passer on his side. Yeah, touch delivery and special pass, not important. Yeah, I mean, these are equal level cards. Like, if you really like that Ricky Davis, or if you missed out on that Ricky Davis or whatever, it just comes down to the jumper. Now, again, I have a buddy who's a big fan of the Keegan Murray jumper. I myself have not personally used it, and I haven't used it on very quick. So I have to see what that jumper's like. But animations wise and attribute wise and badge wise, I really, really, really like this card. And that's why Ricky Davis' shot is so crazy, because he got Curry base with Oscar Robertson upper, which is a meta jumper. We'll see how Keegan Murray can hold up as far as that goes. But other than that, you know, that's Steve Francis versus Jamal Murray. And for me, that's preference. That Steve Francis doesn't give you any magic pill to be a better dribbler. Same thing. And I actually prefer the Chris Paul over the John Wall here. So very excited about this Keegan Murray. Quite surprised. And we've been talking about this card for a long time, so we got to move on. But yeah, that's a very nice, pleasant surprise. All right, Mo Pete, who can play the 2 guard. And strength-wise, a 90 strength at the 2 guard. Absolutely love that. You see as an attacker, he's a little worse off. Let's go ahead and look at these animations real quick. Michael Jordan dribble style, jaw size up. I don't know why they like this size up so much. Trey escape, which is cool. Zack LaVine combo moves, got to take a look at it. I don't think they're good, but I'll take a look at it just to double check. Chris Paul step back, love that. We'll see what the hezzy is. James Harden behind the back. Very solid across the board. I liked his shot on the original card, so we'll see how this shot plays out on very quick. But this was a very, very different time in my team. At the time, you didn't have, you know, Wemby. Everybody didn't have Wemby, which after today, everyone certainly will have some form of Wemby, even just the free one. Normal leaner, love the normal 2 hop jumper. So again, another card that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. I think this card might be all right. I do think he is more in the usable category just because he's not an elite slasher, whereas Keegan Murray has a 90 driving dunk. So you put that shoe on Keegan Murray, and you might be talking about something special there. But not missing any crucial badges. So another low maintenance card, which we absolutely love, especially on the no money spent account where we don't have any real badges. But yeah, Mo Pete looking solid. All depends on that jump shot. If the jump shot's good, we'll definitely, we'll do a breakdown and revisit that card if you guys want to see that content. Or if he's just super special. If he's super special, I'll do a breakdown anyway. I'd like to get you guys more breakdowns, but it can be pretty time consuming. So as time goes on, we'll continue to increase the output of the channel, but this is not a full-time job for me. So I have to do what I can do. Alrighty, so Jaylen Green, the first dark matter that we will be exploring. So let's see. So right away, 85 strength. He cannot get to 90 strength. Already at 6'4", as a card, obviously he can't play the 3 and Keegan Murray can't play the 2. But just as a card, that Opal versus this dark matter, there's two glaring things that I'm looking at where, you know, and you can think about that Brandon Ingram too, but just in terms of the Opal versus dark matter thing with Keegan Murray, it's like, okay, but the important stats he has and, you know, the BS stats, who cares? Although I will say this guy has low intangibles and low shot IQ as well. But, and also being, you know, his size, Keegan Murray, I love that as well. So let's see. Animation wise, he had the De'Aaron Fox before. He did not have the Kyrie Irving dribble style before. Now he also gets Kemba escape. Ugh, LeBron James combo moves. They got to stop with this. These LeBron and Kobe moves right here. We need to switch that up. Not that Kobe's combo moves are good, but LeBron's are downright not very good. And Kobe's breakdown moves are not very good. LeBron's breakdown move is excellent. Kobe Bryant moving crossover is excellent. Moving behind the back pro, we hope that's one of the super elite ones. Move a step back, John Wall. So this guy has basically perfect animations. Chris Paul has these outstanding, right? Now the thing about him, his shot, right? It's just not. Let's look at his other card. I see if it's on quick versus very quick. There's so many Jalen's in the league now. That's crazy. So it is on very quick versus quick. It depends on the upper and it depends on the base whether or not you see that big difference. And here you can see the badges that he got upgraded. So that Kemba escape is a major upgrade. And that moving step back John Wall is another major upgrade. Because of the De'Aaron Fox size up and the Devin Booker dribble style, I thought the card was underrated because those are two really, really great animations. But yeah, Fox looking pretty, I mean, not Fox, Jaylen Green looking pretty solid. Doesn't need any badges. Great animations across the board. All he needs is for that jumper to feel better on very quick. And he actually becomes a pretty solid point guard. But he is 6'4" at the end of the day. And he can't get over 90 strength. And I don't want to make it sound like that's like the most important thing in the world. It's just that when a card can get over 90 strength, the 90 strength is such a great threshold for perimeter defense. That's the main thing I'm thinking about. That perimeter defense is that inability to get mashed. I've not only in my team, but also in rec, when you get that 90 strength, you're just like, oh, okay, I can feel that difference. And so getting over that for me would be, and when you're in hair splitting difference, now that everybody has great animations, everybody has mostly great stats. I am looking at those key stats like 85 standing dunk versus 75 standing dunk. Like, okay, that one I care about. If it's like 99 post hook versus 75 post hook with a shooting guard, I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to put that input into the video game. So who cares? All right, moving forward, Zack LaVine. We're going to go basically in order of what we think the cards will be in terms of quality. So Zach, 87 strength. He can get over the 90 threshold. Animation wise, we got to see what he's talking about. All right, they blessed him because they got rid of a lot of his bad animations. He has Kyrie dribble style, which he desperately needed. That Jamal Murray, which we talked about earlier, Trey escape, awesome. Kyrie behind the back, that's kind of a bummer. Not that it's bad, but it's definitely inferior to Harden, Halliburton, and Jamal Murray. So he has the fourth best behind the back in the game, you could say. I would even say the Trey behind the back, really good for advancing your dribbles. So you could say, okay, I can't do the behind the back on a three-point line, but at least going to the basket, I'm kind of cheesy. The Steph Curry behind the back, it has its positives, it has its negatives. In the Kyle Korver breakdown, we talked about it a lot, but it is definitely the point in the year where you would hope for a better one on the one quote-unquote troll dark matter. I don't know if he fits into the troll dark matter, though. His hop jumper is pretty good from what I remember. His Pro Tool, in fact, I think Kevin Cruz might like that hop jumper a lot. And if Kev likes it, it's probably pretty good. Obviously, Pro Toolina, one of the best in the game. So here's the thing. I can't call this a troll card. I just can't. I don't like Zack LaVine's jumper. I don't remember liking it. But on very quick, it's obviously going to be much better. But with the Pro Toolina, you can make that work 100%. We'll see how to slow that jumper is. That matters a lot, his jumper. But if his jumper feels good, solid card. 6'5" point guard, 6'8" wingspan. You know the dunking is going to be crazy. Let's take a look real quick at his attributes before we go too far into that. But 95.3, which is funny because Zack LaVine is going to, if he was taller, he would be one of those 2K cards like 5 years, 10 years from now after he retires or whatever, where he fits into the 2K lore of his three-pointer is always good and his dunking is always good. But it's the animations, the animations that they're choosing to represent Zack LaVine just don't quite feel right. And when I watch Zack LaVine play, it doesn't feel like he has that clunkiness to him, but in the game, that's what he feels like. So 80 strength, he can get over 90, 95 three ball. We know the driving dunk is just out of this world. Only an 80 block, which I will say, and if you guys have played with Dwayne Wade and Westbrook, you know exactly where I'm going. Like when you have a point guard that can get blocks like that and they've got that high vert, sometimes they come out of nowhere and get that ball. And it's just a nice thing to have on the court. So in breaking down the card, is that a weakness? Is that a negative? Absolutely not. It's not something I'm thinking you're going to pick up Zack LaVine and go, oh, I would have won that game if he had a 90 block. No. You win the game if you play well, put open looks on the card and get, hopefully his jumper is good. That'll help you win the game. But it's just a nice to have. That having been said, strength, interior, block, definitely put those up. Anything else is entirely up to you. I would honestly consider possibly pass that. But, and maybe three-pointer, not because he needs the three-pointer, although you will feel the difference at 99, but just to ensure that you get, well, not to ensure, because he might get slash take, but maybe you can manipulate yourself into shot take, which would be ideal. If you can get shot take on this card, that definitely becomes a massive W because you'll be shooting those Pro 2 leaners from the three-point line at a high clip. But yeah, Zach, I mean, for a troll card, he's fantastic because he certainly looks better than Paul Pierce. Just got to get a look at that jumper. Don't know what that jumper is like. In fact, before we get out of here, let's see if the peanut gallery in the comment section, I mean that affectionately. he's joking, obviously. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know. They're not talking about his jumper, but hopefully that jumper is pretty good. Okay, moving forward. So I don't know who's better between Giannis and Hakeem. So we'll go with Hakeem first, just because he was where my mouse cursor was. All right. Hakeem, you know what you're getting. Great. I mean, honestly, let's go ahead and compare him to the Opal and see what's different, because I think the Opal is actually still playable to this very day. So let's see what they juiced him with. All right. So similar to Ron Artest, I will actually say no. This driving dunk is a massive improvement. This is a big improvement. And actually, this 98 hands, I think you will feel this on catch and shoots. So let's not sleep on that either. The rest of the stuff is going from mid 90s to high 90s for the most part. So I don't think you'll feel a major difference on the rest of the card. You see here passing IQ and passing vision, both juicing the stats somewhat. But yeah, this is very, very similar to the Opal in terms of stats. So if you like the Opal, you'll like this card, obviously. And I don't know anybody who didn't like this Opal. Very, very good Opal. Animation-wise, let's see what they changed. Same dribbles. This is just the Opal with higher driving dunk. I don't know what's really different about this. It's just the Opal again. Better back. Okay, he comes with gold handles for days, which is great. Gold hyperdrive and killer combos, which again also great. This will make him feel much, much better as a dribbler. I don't know if when I used Hakeem, if he had handles for days, because it wasn't on my account. So that might help him a lot as far as that goes. Yeah, and blah blah blah. Let's actually look at current gen. There we go. And yeah, I mean, that's the main, it gets open looks for free. So honestly, the main thing over this over the Opal is he just is less resource intensive. He's got just a little bit of sprinkling of quality of life stuff, but nothing that is super crazy. Because I don't remember him having a super great escape. He's got the Curry snatch, which is awesome. Moving spin, maybe is an upgrade over Kobe Bryant. Who knows? He did get the post fade changed from Michael Jordan to Pro 2. That's interesting. Yeah, post hop shot is moved to Kobe Bryant, which is one of the best post hop shots in the game. That's awesome. But yeah, with Pro 2 leaner, Nikola Jokic hop jumper, I mean, he was a fantastic card before. He should be a very elite power forward again. But again, I mean, like I said, I think the old one still ran. So this is not a whole lot of news with that Hakeem. Good card before, good card again. Let's go ahead and move on to Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right. So Giannis, first things first, we're going to look at the 100 overall and see what's different. I put 100 overall. I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm bugging. All right. So let's just give a quick glance first at the animations. Michael Jordan dribble style over Kyrie Irving. Kawhi, that's interesting. Kawhi Leonard motion style, over Giannis. Steve Francis. So this is a big one. The Steve Francis size up versus his size up, because his size up isn't very good. Interesting. They gave the other one Trey Escape, but this one Kemba Escape. But most people like Kemba Escape a little better than Trey. We'll see what these combo moves pan out. Interesting also, though, they know what the good combo moves are, because these are both good sets of combo and breakdown moves. Moving crossover John Wall to Giannis. Guys, when you say 2K doesn't know what they're doing with some of these cards, that look at what they monetize. Right? Look at what they monetize. Look at the animations that they monetize. Moving behind the back, Ja. Yeah, so animation wise, Giannis is definitely not talking about a whole lot. He's usable for sure, because as long as you have Kemba escape and Michael Jordan dribble style, you can definitely work. And with the new special tech that I showed you guys, he'll be good on that end as well. I think Giannis's jumper is smooth and just fine. I do like it a little more. It's funny. This one I like better at small forward. This one I like a little better at power forward. But he also gets downgraded from Pro 2 leaner to normal leaner. And look at this. He gets downgraded from normal 2 hop jumper to normal hop jumper. Normal hop jumper is still good, but normal 2 is definitely better. So, all right, interesting. Interesting what they changed with this Giannis. The badge stats wise, we know the 100 overall is basically 99 everything, so we don't have to look at that. But no, he's fine on the 3-pointer, and it's a Giannis card. You guys know what Giannis is bringing to the table. He's going to continue to bring that to the table. Let's just see if he needs anything. He doesn't. I would definitely give him Deadeye just for the closeouts. But they got him at 7 feet too, not 6'11". Interesting. So yeah, I mean Giannis, he's gonna be Giannis. All Giannis, every one of these Giannis cards is good. Even the friggin' gold is one of the best gold cards, right? Like none of these cards are bad cards for the time that they came out. And once you get, I mean, honestly, even this Ruby was one of the best power forwards at the time it came out. Always showed up in salary cap. And then here, each of these guys was one of the best cards in the game, except for the series card. And you know what? Even for a series card, it's probably one of the best series cards, right? Like it's Giannis. Giannis is fantastic. And there's a small forward Giannis that is, if you don't get Zack LaVine, he's one of the cards you're going to get, which is great if you're locking in. Alrighty. So let's go ahead, and that's it, right? That's it for the dark matters and everything else. Now we can just go actually we do the 100 overalls. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time with this because these guys are so rare. I think they might be less rare than before. I don't know if the percentages might have come up a little bit, but we have 99 overall Scotty. Animation wise, his jumper on very quick. It's going to be one of the best 2 guards in the game. But I think, animation wise though, I just still can't put him. He's got his own behind the back. This is like one of the. He's a good card. I don't want to say he's not a good card, but he can't create at the level of some of the other 2 guards in the game. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a great shooter, gonna be a great defender, gonna be great going downhill towards the basket. But in terms of creating 3-point shots with that Pro 2 leaner and a really great jumper, having a bad behind the back is 100% not great. And pro escape and not having Kemba or Trae Young is a little bit troll. That's a little bit troll. Not saying he's not a great card. He's going to be a fantastic card. And for most people in the game, I actually could see this guy being one of your favorite shooting guards in the game for most people, because I'm seeing it more and more, but most people don't know how to create off of the escapes and the behind the backs yet. But if you're a competitive player, you're not looking at this Scottie Pippen 100 overall and being very excited. For the high level guys, or for the people who are improving their skill set and trying to get that game, if you say you have Glenn Rice or Dr. J and you're trying to learn that skill set, when you sub in Scotty, now it's like, I don't like this, right? So say if you had Dr. J and you never got Glenn, or vice versa, you got Glenn and you didn't pay for the Pro Pass and you struck out on the Pro Pass wheel. So Scotty backing up Glenn, I don't like as much as a card with the behind the back. Yes, I get it. He's 99 everything and great shooter, great defender. And like I said, for most people, he'll be one of the best 2 guards in the game. But for my money, I want those elite animations on my shot creators. Now, and this is what I'm talking about, where if you play in a card like Scotty, now your point guard has to be able to do it. Somebody made a comment, they think the best team in the game is Glenn Rice and a bunch of 7-footers. Here's the reason I don't like that, real quick. Stamina. You need 2 shot creators on the floor, because the very, very, very best defender on the floor is going to go on to your best card. So if Glenn is going to have, say, a Giannis put on him, right? And I mean in a competitive context. Because if it's not a competitive context, you play whatever you want. If you're better at the game, you'll win. If the person you're playing against is not very skilled, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter what cards you have. It doesn't matter what cards you have in the context of, as long as your team is relatively, modern, and you're not playing with like diamonds and pink diamonds and stuff like that, you should beat an opponent that you're better than if the margin is relatively wide. But if the margin between you and your opponent is not wide, then what's going to happen is they're going to put their best defender on your best player. So now your second best player becomes more important, right? So having Glenn and Dr. J on the court at the same time becomes more of a thing. Or if you wanted more size, now the Shea becomes more important, right? Because now Shea has to cook against his position. So, and then there's also a matter of stamina. There's only so many moves you can do before the card starts to become less effective and start getting those slower jumpers and stuff like that. And if your name is not Glenn Rice, that jumper starts to slow down, it does start to affect you more. Again, with Dr. J, Ron Artest, not as big of a deal, but that's why we go down a tier list. So like for me, the real problem with say a Jaylen Brown, it's not his jumper or normal. I mean, the way it is, his jumper when he starts out is fine, but once he gets tired, he becomes useless a lot faster than a Glenn Rice. And so that's where having these cards with these elite releases and elite shot creating skills come into play. I'm a little surprised that Scottie Pippen did not get that treatment. All right, Devin Booker. Let's see if they changed anything about him. I'm glad that they're keeping his identity intact overall, but they did change his dribble style to Kyrie Irving. I have mixed feelings about this because I don't necessarily want a card like Booker being homogenized to the rest of the cards in the game. But that's the only thing they really changed. Although I will say, I would much rather they have changed his size up than his dribble style. I can work with his dribble style. If you check out the video, link in the description, right? I can work with the Devin Booker dribble style. But that signature size up is not super strong. Would have loved to have seen that changed. Combo moves are okay. Breakdown moves and his movement crossover would have loved to have seen that changed. We'll see what moving behind the back he gets. Hopefully they upgraded that one. Moving step back pro. Ugh. I don't know what moving step back this is, but I'm nervous. A little nervous about that it doesn't say Chris Paul or John Wall. So here's another one. Another 100 overall card where, listen, the thing about the stats is most of the cards have 95 and above everything anyway. So having 99 to me is not that big of a novelty across the board, except in a few stats like, say, strength, which, by the way, he only has a 98, which is, I mean, listen, 98 versus 99, who cares? You can obviously fix any of his 98s with a shoe if you just wanted to have mostly 99 overall. But, you know, those aren't a big, you're not going to feel a difference as a shooter. And as a dribbler, okay, great. He has Kyrie Irving dribble style, but I didn't think that was the dribble that he needed changed in order to be elite. It was these other dribbles that he needed changed in order to be elite. His dribble style is one of the better things about the card from a unique sense, but still has his layup package. Listen, I think offensively, I think the Dark Matter's elite. I don't necessarily think this card is even that much better. He's marginally better than the Dark Matter. I don't know if it's even a difference you'll feel. I think maybe you feel a little bit more of a difference on the defensive end because of the overall better defensive stats. Let's just go ahead and look at it real quick and see what the differences are before we get out of here. So we see there that big plus 11 on strength. That's the main thing, right? That plus 11 on strength. You will feel that on the card. Other than that, we're talking about a lot of post moves, right? 80 to 97 standing dunk is nice for sure because you can dunk meter this standing dunk. Now, you're better at dunk meter standing dunks and like at that stuff if you're taller because you get the big man posterizer animations, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't have. But he should still be better in that situation. Not that you'll see that in situation too much. Driving dunk, I don't know if you'll notice a major difference here, especially if you put a shoe on this one, but it's nice to have a 99 for sure. But yeah, the block is great. The rest of the defense, I mean, defensively, he already had mostly good stats. I do think the strength is the main thing where you'll feel that big difference. I think that's the main dub. The strength in the interior in the block is going to help him out a lot. Offensively, if you really love the Kyrie Irving dribble style, it's an upgrade. Otherwise, not a big difference here, to be honest with you. Because offensively, he was already excellent. So it's not necessarily bad news. It's just a strange choice for 100 overall if they weren't going to change the animations he needed change like his size up and his escape. Because that is if I could change something about the card, I would definitely change his size up and escape and his behind the back, not his dribble style. Devin Booker dribble style for liquid. All right. So anyway, now we can finally get to the Wembys. So first, we're going to go to the free Opal Wemby, which is the most important Wemby out of all of these, because it's the one everybody's going to be able to get. All right, and actually, we're going to compare him to his pink diamond. Alrighty. So let's see. He is almost identical to his pink diamond. Literally, pretty much identical. He's definitely going to need a shoe and a coach to be able to do any dribble stuff. Badge wise, what's different? Got a couple of golds and Hall of Fames over previous silvers and golds. So marginal upgrades across the board, which we like. The strength did not come up at all on this, but the jumper does get upgraded from normal to very quick, which is a massive upgrade. That is so this is a massive upgrade over the pink diamond in the sense that he should be much better from the 3-point line. He is, but the problem is, here's the problem. The biggest problem with the pink diamond, the biggest two problems are one, the shot release, as some very smart people in my comment section were talking about, and two, the strength. And the thing is, back when he came out, him being 7'4" and being able to shoot at all was a big deal. Now, Artis Gilmore, you know, and Mark Eaton's on the wheel, right? Like you got a lot of big cards, 7'2" and above that are pretty attainable, right? So now Victor, his size isn't nearly as special, and almost everybody's running a shooting center, right? So everybody can shoot. So really, having that 70 strength is a much, much bigger liability at this point in the year than it was before, which I think makes this card less runnable now than when this guy was the best center in the game and second best center in the game for several months. He ran the game for several months. And honestly, like I said, it's still theoretically playable, but he is going to get dogged, and he is going to get dogged. But definite bonus that this guy right here will be able to shoot a lot better. So we do love that. All right, moving up the scale. I'm doing it like this because I don't want to skip anybody, because we're going to get to the dark matter in a moment. All right. Strength. Oh, he did not get his strength upgraded, which makes this just a troll card. I honestly don't even care about what else he got, because without that strength getting upgraded, no other upgrades matter. But we will look, just for the sake of thoroughness, at the Galaxy Opal Wemby that we're comparing him to. There we go. That's the 97. What's different? Just very, very marginal upgrades. Although I will say the ball handling. So now you don't need a coach and a shoe. You just need a shoe, which is great, because if he's the only person on your team that needs a ball handle coach, this makes it better. You know, I would say they could have saved this with power forward eligibility, because the strength wouldn't be as big of a deal. But he's center only, which makes it really, really tough for this Victor card. Let's see if he got any animation upgrades. He certainly did not. So basically the same card, except you don't need a ball handling coach, which is kind of a big deal, to be honest with you. Although I just don't see a scenario in which you are running this card with a 70 strength over any of the centers you can get. I mean, Javale McGee's out there looking crazy. Tyson Chandler was free. There are so many decent centers that you can get. I don't think this guy is a decent center. I think he is a usable center. And I don't think he cracks the top, to be honest with you. Don't think he plays. All right, so let's go ahead and see what the dark matter is talking about. That is not who I clicked. Okay, there we go. Oh, that was a double click. Let's get that out of here. So we're going to go ahead and look at this dark matter. It's still weird because it says GOAT at the bottom. I know you don't have the yellow Photoshop, but it just, for a second, I'm like, wait, did I click the right one? All right, so let's see, animations wise. Let's go ahead and compare him to the old Wemby. All right, so Nebula Wemby. There we go. So let's see here. So slight upgrades with the shooting. We do like that, because now he can get to 99.3 if you want, get him shot take, which is crazy. He is reasonably faster. I do think you'll feel a 94 speed over an 89 for sure. In fact, speed, I do think the fives in the speed are important. Although I will say, I have an 85 speed my career character, an 88 speed my career character, and the 88 speed one is just like a little bit better. I can feel like he just feels snappier and more athletic in general, and it helps his defense a lot because he can rotate better. I think speed is one of those attributes where after 85, I don't know if I feel this between like 80 and 85, but from 85 on up, I think you start to feel, maybe in increments of 2 or 3, big speed differences. So that's great for him there. But yeah, marginal upgrades from an stat standpoint, attribute standpoint, no changes. So this is basically the identical card to the other dark matter. Definitely some hyperdrive on Hall of Fame is pretty cool. Oh, let's go ahead and get to the current gen. All right, there we go. But yeah, hyperdrive and speed booster on Hall of Fame, you will feel that he will feel faster for sure. Open looks great, less maintenance on that. Float game, good. I'm glad he's a big that actually gets float game. That is actually a big upgrade. But yeah, so he's a Wemby card. He's a Wemby card everybody can get. They can all play center, so they're all good because that's his best position anyway. But especially it's his best position, not even just because he wouldn't be awesome at small forward, at being 7'4" and all that other stuff, like having a tall lineup. It's just because who's he replacing? The chance of your center being better than Wemby is not very high, right? So his best position is because he's best at that position, right? I mean, that like compared to other cards at that position, he's gonna be great. So there's no real reason to look at the rest of these Wembys. Let's go ahead and look at the 100 overall real quick, just to look at it. We know he's gonna be super duper rare, and nobody's gonna get him. So stats are all juice. Animation wise, did he get anything? Kemba escape. Let's go ahead and look at the comparison. It's so silly having all of these cards. I do not understand all the positional dark matter stuff. Like whoever came up with this, I'd like to have an honest conversation with them about like why did you think this was good? Although we like it more now when it raises the odds of us getting a Wemby card. I just want to see what these animations are talking about. So Tracy versus Ja size up, that's a wash. Ja size up's not better than Tracy size up. They're just different. And he's identical from an animation standpoint. All right. So attribute wise, I mean, we know he's got significant upgrades in some areas, but outside of strength, I don't know how big those upgrades really are. They're nice, nice little upgrades, but I don't know if this 100 overall is that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I don't know if you're his opponent, if you feel the difference between 100 overall Wemby and Dark Matter Wemby. If you get this, it's nice for the card art and the glow, but I think that's kind of a who cares. Okay, and just for shiggles, let's see what they did to this guy. All right, so we know he's literally got everything Hall of Fame. Let's go ahead and see. So yeah, Steve Francis with Michael Jordan. They did that. Trey escaped. And honestly, I think they didn't upgrade anything on the 100 overall to make the GOAT card more special, which just makes this collection suck even more because now we're starting to get somewhat, I don't want to say troll, because 100 overall, there are no bad 100 overalls in the game, but I do think there are 100 overalls in the game that are not top 3 at their position, right? And I would go further than that, but I don't want to have a debate. But when I say not top 3, so like for instance, I don't think James Harden 100 overall is top 3 at the point guard position. I don't think that's particularly, controversial. Shaq is not top 3 at the center position. He's just not, right? Like 100 overall Shaq is 100% not top 3 at the center position. So now we're getting 100 overalls. I do feel like 100 overall should be at least knocking on the door of top 3, at least like a preference thing, not hands down, no discussion, no way I'm using Shaq over this guy, and this guy, and it's only happening because the GOAT cards have to have a reason to exist. And listen, this guy is perfect. He's as good of a center as you can possibly make. Although I'd be very curious to see on the court how Yao Ming faces up against this card because Yao's just so big, right? Yao Ming is just so big on the court. 100 overall Yao Ming is still just as far as it goes. But yeah, they gave him basically every perfect animation in the game. And I don't know how much of this you actually use because his greatest power is being super duper tall and being athletic and being able to move reasonably well on the court with that really high release point. They did increase his base to Dyson Daniels, which makes me want to try the Dyson Daniels base in my career. That is a very interesting upgrade. The Dyson Daniels base. I don't know if you can get this on a big in my career. I'll have to look. It's probably height capped because Dyson Daniels is not a center, but that's interesting. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of all of these cards. I do think, and I will say closing thoughts, I do think that this is a collection that is worth locking in because even if you lose, and there is a way to lose, and that is to get Zack LaVine. Zack LaVine is definitely an L. Actually, I would say in one scenario, it's not as much of an L. If you like Zack LaVine, and some people do like Zack LaVine and have all year, and you already have that Hakeem, that Opal Hakeem, I think those people, and I know they exist, would have rather had Zack over Hakeem, because this Hakeem is not a big upgrade over the Opal, and it's not an upgrade I think you'll feel. Just like on my account with the Ron Artest, I didn't lock in that collection. I was like, ooh, I'm not locking in, because if I get Ron Artest, I'm gonna be kind of mad, because I'm not playing the dark. Like, I'm gonna play the Dark Matter over the Opal, but that's just now basically having two duplicates in my collection. They're not different, right? Same thing with this Hakeem. He is a slight upgrade over the Opal, not a big upgrade. So if you are still running this Hakeem, you're basically still running this Hakeem. So if you have Hakeem already, this is a little bit of an L for you. Zach is obviously the L. Giannis is a W. And then either of these 100s. You know what, though? If you don't have Hakeem, I'd rather Hakeem than either of these 100 overalls, because these guys don't play for me. Well, Booker probably plays. He probably plays. Scotty doesn't play. He's not playing over Dr. J. I don't care what his stats say. Yeah, me personally, I'd rather Hakeem on my main account. No money spent. I'll take any of these cards with no money spent, because any of these guys is a reasonable upgrade over what I have, except for maybe Zach. But yeah, Giannis, massive W if you get Giannis. And any Wemby you get, it's a great card. So for that reason, if you have Wemby, I would stay away from all of this. If you have Wemby, leave this alone. Because if you have Wemby, the only card you want is probably Giannis. So for those of you who do have Wemby, I would definitely keep it moving and keep your currency for next week. And I don't know what you're looking for if you have Wemby. I imagine if you have Wemby, if you pulled Wemby, you're probably very bored with all of this, because there is nothing here to upgrade your collection if you have Wemby. Just because none of the other cards outside of Giannis are like upper level elite. And Wemby is the best thing about this collection for sure. Giannis is probably the second best thing. And then, you can take your pick over based on the needs of your team going forward. But I do like some of these Opals. Very curious about some of these Opals. Guys, thank you so much for rocking with this channel and the continued support. We are already, I cannot believe it, already moving into that area of getting towards 1,300 subs. So let's keep the support going forward, and I will support you in return. See y'all in the next one. Peace.